And that's where I go back to where where family office investment is going now. We're much more looking at the social impact and measurable social impact, not just a tick.
So how do you measure that then? Like, what
Well, this is the
metrics do
point.
you use? Or is it proprietary?
Well, this is the point. It's very difficult because at the moment this is a new area for us, measuring social impact. Does it create so many jobs? Does it create how the long term of impact of this? Is it going to make energy cheaper for the baseline for people on the breadline? These are the sort of things that are parameters, because when you're looking, it was much easier in the old days when all you had to measure was the financial gain, because it was much easier. Measuring an impact on a group of people, on their actual status, is much more difficult, because
to quantify it is very difficult.
To quantify it exactly is very difficult. But certainly we are seeing a movement, and that is very positive. We are seeing far more, and that we have to say thank you to the anti-woke brigade for that, because we are seeing a great movement within the family office strategy, looking far more at social impact and measuring social impact, trying to find ways to measure social impact, to look at how we can improve the lot, shall we say, of people who are. We're not looking at a communist regime thinking that we're all going to be equal. That is utopia. And it's, as you said, it sounds great in principle, but never works in practice. But at the same time, we have to look at how we're going to impact and improve the lot of these people, so that we can still have people who will have. They're not going to be multimillionaires. They're not going to own their own family office, but they can still have job security. They could still feed their families, and they don't have to have the ongoing worry every day of, are we going to make it to the end of the week? Or is our house going to be repossessed? Are we going to make the mortgage payments? These are growing concerns for a growing sector of society rather than a diminishing sector of society. That is a crucial worry. That is where we need to be looking at our investments and strategizing to alleviate those concerns. And it's not philanthropy, it is investment. So obviously there's going to be a financial return. But at the same time, the strategy has moved away from this sort of, how can I put it, not airy-fairy, but this sort of greenwash, this sort of green tick. And now I'm seeing far more that we have to register impact. We have to show what has this investment actually achieved? What is it doing? And not just at the beginning where we say it will do this, but all the way through the investment from start to exit, and then a final analysis on exit. Has it achieved the goal we said it would achieve in the first place? If not, why not? And we're seeing far more interest in that information than we did, say, even 6 months ago.
But two things to that point. I remember I was speaking to a family office not too long ago, and they invest heavily. They have a very ESG-focused investment strategy. But as you mentioned, ESG isn't homogenous yet. They haven't found common markers. So they said, let's say if we do invest in an oil field, right, or in oil, some people may not consider that ethical investing, but that gives jobs to the people that wouldn't have jobs in the first place. So they're trying to measure up, because not every when you wear something or when you do anything, people are going to have different points of view on what you do, especially when it comes time to something as contentious as new as ESG investing. They're going to point their finger, or they're going to put up the flag of of change or leadership in this field, because it's very new. So they said, if we invest in something, we try to we have our own markers, because there's no generic agreed set of principles. So that's what they do, and that seems to be a typical theme throughout investment in general. But in that case, do you think it's important to have common standards, or is it better to be more unique in how you perceive ESG to be?
Well, family offices will always be, to a certain extent, unique. To say that there aren't any generic parameters is not true. There are a number of, whether we're looking at the United Nations.
But we need more than just generic parameters in this.
But no, that's the starting point for family offices. And what we start off with, because as I said right at the beginning, a family office, you've seen one family office, you've seen one family office. Each one is unique to the family it serves. And that's the whole beauty of the structure, because it is a very unique structure that recognizes the strength of one particular family, its ethos, what it stands for, and it takes that ethos and passes it down the generations. That's the whole beauty behind, and that's why it protects not just the family wealth, but the family's ethos and structure through generational paths. But going back to the investment side of it, when you're looking at setting up a family office, the first thing you're going to look at is setting up the charter, the family office charter. What does the family stand for? Yeah. So when we're looking at the investment side of it, and we're looking at ESG and perhaps the social impact of it, of structuring the investment platform, we will look at worldwide parameters that are put out by the various organizations. But ultimately, it is the family members that will decide how they use those parameters and how they fit their own take on what they want to see, what they perceive as the world's problems, what they want to do. And not only, because remember, we're not talking just about philanthropy here, we're talking about investment. So they are expecting a return. So they're all going to be looking at how their investment impacts, but also where they want it to impact. It's very unique to their own take on society. So where one family maybe, for example, because of where their origins have come from. So I've seen some of my clients of mine will be very keen to help very poor areas in Africa, because that's where their family originated from. So on projects that will involve bringing in water, piped water to a village, for example. That's their particular focus. Yeah. And that's an investment strategy where we can see a definite social impact.
100%.
But another family might be saying, well, my family are originally from the Northeast, where we've seen a great deal of industrial deprivation because factories have closed, mines have closed, there's no jobs. So we want to, our impact is going to be investing in that area because we want to create jobs in that area to regenerate societies in those particular towns. So it's very, and again, you see it in the States. The States, I've seen American clients who are looking at projects where, again, they're looking at regenerating particular areas because it means something to that particular family. And that's what's unique about the family office structure. It's never going to follow one particular set of rules. Yes, there is a general parameter, and these and there are various. Obviously, I'm not going to go into them now. There are various rules and for and parameters for economic and social and governance and ESG and all of that. But how they use those parameters and how they adapt them to fit their own strategy is completely unique to each family. And that's why family office is so useful as a tool for social impact, because, as I said, each family is unique in its own right, and therefore and has a different way of dealing with different problems. And that's where that's. But what we have seen, as I said before, is a move from just financial impact. We are now looking at certainly social impact as one of the key criteria for investment strategies.